Welcome back to the channel. More relaxed one today. I'm on the settee. So boxing on tonight. We've got Adam Azim v Sergey Liptus. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Don't mean any offence by not pronouncing it right. Good fight. A little bit of drama at the scales. Both lads coming in overweight. Sergey with more weight to get off. Azim came in a couple of ounces over. He thought it was just his underpants that was the couple of ounces over. But it turns out it did take them off, I believe, and it was still a couple of ounces over. But it was a couple of ounces. In the end, both lads got the weight off. Could be interesting to see if they have genuine, either got the weight wrong or have they actually struggled? And we'll see. Sergey is a very experienced campaigner. He is at the back end of his career, but how much has he got left? Has Azim's team tried to time it so he's not the formidable fighter that he once was? And they're hoping that they've got the timing right and they can do a job and get it done. And at the minute, obviously there's a lot of hype around Adam Azim. He's looked fantastic. He's flashy. He's fast. He's powerful. He's young. But the issue we have, and I think the boxing public, especially the British boxing public, is we want to see him in domestic fights. The current fights. The main one being Dalton Smith. Adam was the European champion. Dalton was mandatory. So, why couldn't they get that on? There's a lot of talk that Adam vacated so he didn't have to fight him, but yet he's saying he would fight him on interviews, but then his team vacate the belt and move him on. That is frustrating. As a fan, I am still a boxing fan as well as a fighter. I like to see these kind of fights. And knowing Dalton, I know they will take that fight. And I think it is a good fight for British boxing. They're both young. They're both at that level. So I think it'd just make for a good fight. It'd sell very well. It'd be a good fight. And whoever loses that fight, it's not the end of the road. Look at early on in their careers, James DeGale fought George Groves. I think they was in a very similar position to these two lads. They both got paid very well. James DeGale lost. But look what he went to do. He went on to become world champion. So it shows you, a loss doesn't mean anything. And again, it's come out today. I think it was just today. I've seen it on Instagram this morning, social media. Some boxing page has come out and said that His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh has now took Azim off the Eubank Benn card in April because he's trying to pick and choose who he wants to fight. On the video season shows, the best fight the best. They are proper competitive fights. So Turkey's not going to have that. And apparently he's slung him off the bill because they gave him three options. Apparently the Dalton Smith fight was offered. Sean McComb was offered, who was a very good fighter. And Pearce, another very good fighter, absolutely wicked with that left hook. Again, they are brilliant fights for the public to watch. And the fact that he's turned them down, again, I'd like to think it's not Adam going, no, I'm not fighting him. You'd like to think it's his team. But again, it's a shame that, they've all gone on record saying, we're looking at Tank, we're looking at Garcia, we're looking at Haney. Well, you can't be looking at the elites and the world champions when you're not willing to fight these domestic fighters. You certainly can't think you're above these kids. But yeah, if Adam genuinely wants to fight these kids and make these fights happen, it's a shame that his team is not letting them happen. Because it's not only denying him big paydays, it's denying the public of big fights. It's denying Adam again, I suppose, is in good domestic level experience, which you need before you move on to these big fights. But yeah, it's a shame. Obviously, it's generating headlines and stuff like that. But it's just a shame that we as the British boxing public are not getting to see these fights with these young lads at this time. Hopefully, that we get to see them before it's too late. Again, I mentioned James DeGale, George Groves. They fought for the British title, both young at the time, early in their career at the time. James DeGale lost, but still went on to become a world champion. So it shows you. And he got paid well in the process. They headlined the O2 Arena, which, a bit unheard of for a British title, but that's, that was the hype around the fight, and that's the kind of hype that's around Azim, which he's going to end up missing out on if his team don't get these fights made. So yeah, that's my sort of view on it. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.